dribbles at midcourt. Eyes on the timer. 40-footer for Ennis.
They got it! They got it! Perfection in Pittsburgh! The Orange won the peak!
Into Barber, couldn't call it. Picked off by Christmas. Heading in past to Ennis. Now the Fear against Lewis. Rises and lays it in. The shot of the Hornets not in time. And the Orange are still unbeaten. You have got to be kidding me. Absolute miracle here at the Carrier Dome.
Welcome to Wednesday Night Hoops, and welcome to the Carrier Dome. This is the ACC on ESPN, and they are basking in the glow of the #1 team in America as Syracuse, still undefeated, hosts Boston College tonight here at home. Syracuse has won their last 2 conference games by 3 total points, both in a miraculous fashion. They have the matchup with Duke coming on Saturday, so the challenge for the Orange, not to look past a Boston College team that has put several scares into the top of the conference, but they're only 2 league wins against Virginia Tech. Hi again, everyone. Bob Wischusen here with LaFonso Ellis. Thanks so much for spending part of your Wednesday night with us. The amazing part, it seems at least, about this Syracuse season is that it's not always the stars at the top of the depth chart that get it done. They seem to get a different hero every night.
Without a doubt, C.J. Fair and Tyler Ennis have had incredible years, but if it weren't for a 33-point effort by Trevor Cooney against Notre Dame and Rakeem Christmas coming off a double-double against North Carolina State, how about 7 blocks for him as well to win a national championship? They're going to need that kind of effort from all 5 guys.
As we take a look at our one-on-one as well, it seems as if they've been taking the ball out of the peach basket, still trying to figure out how to stop this 2-3 zone.
Several ways to beat the zone. These are 3 of them coming up. Get it in the center. Now you all of a sudden you have to match up with shooters on the outside. Ryan Anderson buries it from the free throw line. Secondly, you can screen it. And when that screen takes place, it creates a gap. Now you have 2 against 3 on the backside. Beautiful find in the corner by Hamlin. Lonnie Jackson drills it from 3. Finally, why play against the zone when you can get in the open court? Boston College attacking early, secondary break. 5 defenders underneath the key. Kick it out for a 3, and they knock it down. They're going to need 10 or more threes, Boston College, if they want to win tonight.
Well, if BC is going to make 10 or more threes tonight, they have to come from Olivier Hamlin and Lonnie Jackson. Jackson had 6 threes the last time these 2 teams met, what turned out to be a 10-point Syracuse win, in large part because of the play of Tyler Ennis and Trevor Cooney. Those 2 players are averaging close to 25 points between them, and of course C.J. Fair, the preseason player of the year in the league, in the top 10, not only in scoring but also in field goal percentage. And Jim Boeheim, number 2 in Division I history and victories, and he has a team that right now looks as if it might be the best in America, but they have tests looming, as we said, LaFonso, coming up. They've got the game, obviously, at Cameron on Saturday, and then before the ACC season is over, they have to go down to Virginia as well.
Yes, certainly landmines both against Duke and against Virginia. Watch for Boston College to be patient here against that 2-3 zone, but you can't get there. You get trapped in the corner. Let's see if they can find something on the weak side.
They attack the zone from the free throw line. It results in a kick out for a wing 3 that Hamlin can't hit. And in case you're wondering if Syracuse misplaced their game shorts and had to go to the practice closet, they did not. This is by design. Throwback uniforms. Pretty good because we've got the Pearl in the house tonight. C.J. Fair leans in. That's an air ball off the glass, and back the other way comes Hamlin.
And this is where Boston College has to push, looking for easy opportunities early in transition. The problem is they did it at Chestnut Hill, but they got a little tired in that second half. They don't have a lot of depth. That could be a factor here at the Carrier Dome.
Again, it's Odio left along the free throw line.
Yeah, he's got to look at the rim and take that shot to keep it honest.
And a chance now at the line for Ryan Anderson. A good up fake that got Christmas airborne. So Rakeem Christmas picks up his first personal, and it will be Ryan Anderson shooting a pair. Jim Boeheim not only has taken his team to 3 NCAA title games, but of course won the national championship behind Carmelo Anthony back in 2003. They've gone to the Final Four 4 times in his 38 years. And Steve Donahue, well, he's just trying to get the program back on track. In his 4th season, they were 21-13 in year 1. They are 31-58 since.
Really loaded up that preseason schedule because he was trying to follow what he did at Cornell started with a big freshman class, allowed them to get some experience, and then went to a heavy schedule, a team that got to 16.
Christmas misses the left-handed hook, and Anderson the rebound.
When Eddie Odio or whoever for Boston College catches that basketball at the free throw line area, they must take a look at the rim. The last two possessions, they're looking to be passers, and that plays into Syracuse's hands.
That three goes down for Lonnie Jackson, and Boston College off to a good start.
They're going to have to locate him in that zone. 81% of his made field goals are threes.
Tyler Ennis sets up Grant. That's no good. And they're still standing here at the Carrier Dome looking for field goal number 1 for the Orange.
And Bob, that's an important key for this Boston College team as well. They cannot allow Syracuse to get second chance opportunities. They've taken care of their backboard so far.
Anderson missed inside. Here comes Ennis. Fair finds Cooney trailing. Air ball.
It's a nice late challenge by Olivier Hanlon, forcing Trevor Cooney to alter that shot. That's why it was short.
Boston College can score.
They can.
And they're a team that obviously has struggled more at the defensive end than the offensive end. Missing a little floater here is Rayhan. A scramble for the loose ball. Out of bounds, and it will go over to Syracuse. But talking to Steve Donahue earlier today, he said that he thought in the first meeting between these two teams they went too fast.
And part of that, what he meant was he felt that they were pushing it a little too quickly at times, and in that, playing erratic, they were turning that basketball over. 14 turnovers, and I believe it was 18 points for Syracuse off those turnovers. So he wants to play a little bit more deliberate. I like the fact that they're taking advantage of this mismatch here with C.J. Fair inside.
Fair still can't hit.
That's a 6-inch height advantage over number 25, Joe Rayhan in white. I'd like to see Syracuse continue to exploit that throughout this game. Didn't do it consistently in Chestnut Hill. This tempo, this pace right now favors Boston College.
Shot clock down to 7. Jackson gives it up. Double team to the baseline, and Anderson had to take it away.
He's got to go score right away. Has to make quick, decisive moves when he catches the basketball down in that low post. Two Canadians going at it at the point guard spot here.
Crowd wants to sit down. Nearly 4 minutes gone by, and Syracuse blank so far. Shot clock at 10 for Fair. On the move, and he'll go to the free throw line. So with C.J. Fair to shoot a pair, let's take a look at Fonz's focus for Boston College Syracuse.
Syracuse, of course, the heavy favorite in this game. For Boston College to steal a win on the road, it's all about the 10s. They have to make 10 or more threes, fewer than 10 turnovers, and they cannot allow Syracuse to dominate the offensive board.
Well, BC in at least a couple of those categories of late has been better. In their first 18 games, they averaged about 13 turnovers per game. In their last 7 games, only averaging 6.5 turnovers per game. And they did have 9 threes the last time these two teams met, and led by 8 early in the second half in a game that you called. What fell apart down the stretch? You were waiting for the avalanche to come from Syracuse. It eventually came.
Started to turn the basketball over, giving Syracuse some easy ones, and they weren't able to control their backboard. That's why those two areas are key for Boston College to get a win here at the Carrier Dome.
Jackson, another 3 on the way, and he's got a pair. And a timeout called by Jim Boeheim, and he is not pleased. We'll step aside for 30 seconds and come right back to the Dome, where Boston College has gotten under 16 minutes in the game. Jim Boeheim was displeased with his team a moment ago after he called that timeout. He's still not happy, railing on the guys on the bench, and here's why.
Well, when the double team takes place, Eddie Odio's making a dive down the middle, and they're replacing his area, which is exactly what you should do against the zone. You want a short pass and a long pass. Boston College executing beautifully here early in this game. I still think for Syracuse, they got to get the basketball to C.J. Fair. There is no way Joe Rayhan can guard him with the basketball.
Well, C.J. Fair will shoot free throws when we return, but the crowd, nearly 5 minutes in, haven't been able to sit down yet. No field goals for Syracuse.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Allstate. Are you in good hands? And Claritin, the #1 doctor-recommended non-drowsy allergy brand. Live Claritin Clear. Use as directed.
We're just setting the night here on ESPN2. More college basketball from the Pac-12 coming up. Washington, Oregon at 9 with Joseph Young in the top 4 of the Pac-12 in scoring and leading the Mountain West in scoring. Cameron Bairstow of the Lobos. They'll be taking on UNLV at 11. So this just the first of a triple header. College basketball here on ESPN2. Bob Wischusen alongside LaFonso Ellis. Boston College off to an excellent start. C.J. Fair about to go to the free throw line to try and score another deuce for Syracuse. But LaFonso, you've played now, and I know coaches and players always seem to talk about 4-minute segments in these games. Hard to believe that Steve Donahue isn't anything but ecstatic at the first 4.5 minutes.
Well, Steve Donahue has to be ecstatic about the way his team controlled the tempo. You know this Boston College team is going to get and make three-point shots, but what they've been able to do is they've been able to prevent Syracuse from getting second-chance shots. That's one of the big keys for any team that plays against this really good Syracuse Orange team.
Syracuse without a field goal yet, but great players who are scorers find a way to get the job done, and C.J. Fair has all 4 Syracuse points at the free throw line.
Nice little adjustment they've made right now. Syracuse playing a little bit more attention to number 20, Lonnie Jackson, to not give him free looks.
Shot clock down to 5. Lonnie Jackson from NBA range. That's off the mark. Ennis to Christmas and now gets a return.
It's a nice job defensively in transition by Boston College to find Trevor Cooney, who's a knockdown three-point shooter. Number 10 in orange.
And it's on the drive. Had it stripped away by Hanlon. It stays with Syracuse with 15 to shoot.
I thought Hanlon wrapped him with his left arm a little bit. I thought that should have been a foul. The referee missed that one. Look at C.J. Fair. He's got that mismatch all night long. They've not been able to score a field goal. And if you get him touches, he'll do just that.
The crowd finally gets to take a seat. C.J. Fair has all 6 for the Cuse, but that is their first field goal nearly 6 minutes in.
I like how patient Boston College has been. Ryan Anderson is the perfect guy to put at that position. I'd like to see him more aggressive when he catches it, taking a look at the basket.
Out of bounds off the kick, 13 to shoot for Boston College. Surprised that Ryan Anderson on the catch at the free throw line wouldn't have looked at the rim before making that pass.
Absolutely, and that's where he hurt Syracuse in their last game, is he was catching it, looking at the basket, and he can make that jump shot out to 17 feet. So he has to have an aggressive mindset, a scorer's mindset when he catches the basketball at the free throw line area.
Bad pass from Jackson. Cooney tries to go coast to coast and finishes.
And Bob, that's what hurt Boston College down the stretch when they were up 8 in the second half. All the reversal passes, especially Trevor Cooney, started to pick them off and get some easy dunks in transition. They can ill afford Boston College to turn the basketball over against this team.
Anderson immediately double team, finds Odio to the corner. Hanlon, no good. Here comes Ennis. Fair running one-hander across the lane. May have been deflected, gives Boston College a chance for a run out. Hanlon tries to attack, bump to the corner and steps on the sideline. So that goes from a BC 2-on-1 to a turnover.
Missed opportunity there by Boston College. I thought Hanlon should have thrown that basketball ahead to Ryan Anderson, who was about 5 feet in front of him. Can't miss out on those opportunities that you get, the easy ones against the Orange, or they'll make you pay.
Crowd with a big hand for Bamu Sakeda, who comes on for the first time in the last 3 games. He's been practicing this week with a knee brace on. Sprained his knee against Clemson 3 games ago. Missed the last couple of games, although he warmed up and they thought he was going to be able to play against NC State, but they thought better of it. So he returns for the first time since the Clemson injury tonight. Fair, an 18-footer, comes up short.
See, that's a much better defensive matchup for Boston College, having number 4 in white, Eddie Odio, guarding him. Equal size, 6'8", and he can move his feet defensively as well. Bamu Sakeda does such a tremendous job. Coach Boeheim told me 2 games ago that he's maybe the best communicator in the back of that zone that he's ever had.
BC takes the shot clock under 10 once again, trying to shorten the game, so they'll have some gas in the tank left at the end as Rayhan now penetrates, floats one off the glass. Odio tries to stuff it home and does get the bounce.
He is freakishly athletic. You must find him and get him off the boards.
That's a rare bucket for Boston College in terms of offensive rebounding. They have been out-rebounded on the offensive end in ACC play, 139-91 coming into tonight. And Odio corrals the miss by C.J. Fair.
Well, you're talking about a team that doesn't get a whole lot of 2-point shots in Boston College. 41% of their made field goals are threes. Thought they missed Anderson with a little post-up inside.
Foul called on the block. That's Michael Benajay. Well, look who's in the house tonight. Pearl Washington has come back to his old stomping grounds. We tried to have him recreate before the game, arguably the greatest shot in Syracuse history. We'll take a look at the real one when we come back. He had a flair for the dramatic, and there may never have been a more dramatic moment in the Syracuse career of Pearl Washington than that. January 21st, 1984 from midcourt. 75-73 Syracuse over these very Boston College Eagles. And of course the Pearl, about as dynamic a guard as college basketball has ever seen for the 4 years that he played for Syracuse.
I can remember all the kids. I'm from East St. Louis, Illinois, right across the bridge from St. Louis, Missouri. I can remember all the kids saying, I'm like the Pearl.
Now, this one's not bad. If you want to compare and contrast, on the road last week, Tyler Ennis at the buzzer. And did that stun the Peterson Event Center? And the camera shots we had of Jamie Dixon and that pit bench after that shot went down by Tyler Ennis, boy, they thought they had that game won.
How about the great lineage of guards that they've had? Throw Sherman Douglas in there, who's there around my time. Boy, Syracuse have had some terrific point guards. I think the Tyler Ennis made long ball may have been bigger than the one Pearl made, just because of the implications. They're defending a winning streak on the road at Pitt, hostile environment. So I'm gonna have to give the nod to Tyler Ennis. What do you think, Bob?
Tyler Ennis, there were some implications. You're right, especially if this ends up being an undefeated season for Syracuse. Boston College with the 1-point lead, 9 minutes in though. And again, they take the shot clock down. Under 10, Ray Hahn pulls up, hit the backboard first. And here comes Ennis. He doesn't play like a freshman.
Not at all. So patient. Looking for the open opportunities, never rushes it.
To the corner, Benajay. A little too strong. Knocked out of bounds. And it will go over to BC.
I thought Syracuse missed an opportunity there. Jeremy Grant at 6'7", had Lonnie Jackson on him in the low post, and they looked away from him. For a Syracuse team that has struggled to score the way they typically do, I think sometimes you got to simplify the offense and take advantage of the mismatch. They've not done it consistently tonight.
Now, Syracuse's offensive numbers, by and large, are in the middle of the pack in the ACC. Tied for 8th in scoring, 7th in field goal percentage. But their defensive numbers are terrific. 3rd in the league, allowing only 58 points per game. And of course, you see the effect there, as Anderson doesn't have any breathing room on the baseline, and now 3 seconds is called against BC. So it's another Boston College turnover. That's their 5th.
You remember earlier when I said when you catch the basketball under there, you have to make a quick decision there? Eddie Odio is extremely athletic, and it would take nothing for him to explode to the basket and dunk the basketball. They cannot, Boston College, continue to miss out on those easier opportunities against Syracuse, because you know at some point on their home floor, the Orange is going to make a run.
Skip passes for the Orange to try and create some space, and C.J. Fair backs it out. Now down the lane and finish. Anderson taps it around, and Odio comes away with it. Olivier Hanlon crossing over, lays it in. And Steve Donahue on the BC sideline, arms outstretched, wanting to know where the end one was.
We talked about at the top the importance for Boston College to attack in transition for that defense get set.
Fair, yes. Nice jump stop by C.J. Fair.
Boston College gambled on that one, creating the open angle for the bounce pass underneath, and C.J. Fair with a smooth finish with the left hand.
C.J. Fair has been the offense so far for Syracuse. He has 8 of their 10.
Watching transition, I tell these young guys all the time to use their bodies, turn that inside shoulder to shield the basketball and get it up on the rim. Beautiful execution in transition by Olivier Hanlon.
Olivier Hanlon averages over 18 points per game, 3rd best in the ACC. And they'll need all of that tonight to pull off an upset.
Over the last 3 games, he's been drilling at 21 points a game over the last 3.
There's the turnaround for Anderson, in and out, but a good look from the elbow. Michael Benajay to Cooney in the corner for 3. In and out. And run down by Odio.
Syracuse has 0 offensive rebounds in this game. Boston College doing a nice job of boxing out so far.
foot of Benajay. It certainly looked as if it may have gone off of Benajay's foot, but the officials say no. Rayhan dribbled it out. Thursday night showcase. It's a Big Ten ACC doubleheader. First at 7, Michigan State on the road taking on Purdue. And then at 9, Jabari Parker and the Blue Devils head down Tobacco Road to take on Marcus Page and the Tar Heels. The Thursday night showcase presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Both games on ESPN and watch ESPN. And that ice out of Duke, North Carolina last week creates an unbelievable Duke doubleheader as they take on North Carolina Thursday, and they've got Syracuse #1 coming to Cameron on Saturday as Jeremy Grant's finger roll gives Syracuse the lead.
Boston College is out rebounding Syracuse 12-6 so far in this game. I like the fact that Syracuse, that last possession, was able to get the basketball in Jeremy Grant's hands, and he's terrific when he's attacking the rim.
Odio outside to Hamlin. No good. Fair back to Ennis. Thought about it 3. Instead, it's Fair on a post-up. Fades away. Off the heel. Offensive rebound, Rakeem Christmas. That's no good. The first offensive rebound of the game for Syracuse, and Christmas missed point blank.
I think C.J. Fair, because he's so tall, he shouldn't be fading away against Joe Rayhan, who's only 6'2", straight up and down for the talented scorer, number 5 in orange for the Qs.
Steve Donahue will call a timeout for BC here with 7.5 minutes to go in the first half. And don't miss, as we've been talking about, one of the most anticipated rematches in college basketball this season. Saturday night at Cameron at 7. Jabari Parker and the Blue Devils want to even the score. They barely lost the game of the year against C.J. Fair in the orange here at the Dome. And then at 9, it's a Pac-12 showdown. Aaron Gordon and the Wildcats face Colorado. Saturday primetime presented by DirecTV. Both of those games are live on Watch ESPN as well.
James Michael McAdoo of North Carolina will be matched up against Jabari Parker. He's going to have to be careful of not getting foul trouble, because when Jabari Parker posts up down low, he's a lot like Carmelo Anthony. He's a bulldog underneath, bumping you and trying to finish at the rim. It could create some early foul trouble for North Carolina, and they could be in trouble against that team.
And then Duke on Saturday with the rematch against Syracuse. They're the only team in the ACC this season to break 60 against Syracuse in the 2-3 zone.
Wow.
Boston College actually had the second most points against Syracuse. They had 59 in the 69-59 loss these two teams played back on January 13th. And it looks like another low-scoring affair tonight. Shot clock under 10. 5 to shoot. Rayhan off to Lonnie Jackson. Anderson faces up. Doesn't get the bounce.
He's fallen away just a little bit on that shot, and I think that's why it's hitting in the front of the rim.
Fair, wide open for 3. And it ends up in traffic with Rayhan as Christmas and Grant together couldn't come up with an offensive rebound.
CJ really shot the basketball well from the three-point line last year, about 47%. This year he's really struggled to knock down the long ball.
Backdoor, Anderson shut down underneath, and that's a held ball, and the possession arrow gives it to Syracuse. Again, the quick decision you're looking for didn't come that time from Ryan Anderson.
You got to go up much more quickly. Syracuse rolling back into this game.
Chris Cotter and Dan Dockich in Bristol, Northwestern and Ohio State. Coach, what's going on here with Aaron Kraft?
Let me see. No. Oh, no. I'm taking my fat head off the wall.
Kraft with the miss. Trey Demps going the other way for Northwestern. Look at this. It's a 7-point lead for the Wildcats in Columbus. Meanwhile, Florida with a 3-point lead over Auburn. And here goes Cincinnati handling UCF right now over on the U. Back to Bob and LaFonso.
Well, Chris, at least so far, Syracuse anything but handling Boston College. Neither team handling it well at the offensive end. BC shooting 29%, Syracuse 22%. And we have a low-scoring first half. Exactly the tempo that BC wanted to play at, though. But here's a chance for Jeremy Grant to go to the line. A 3-point play opportunity.
Watch how patient Jeremy Grant is when he catches it inside. A nice little turn to the inside, protects the basketball, keeping it chin, and explodes through Eddie Odio to draw the foul.
Odio called for his first. Jeremy Grant was named to Team USA's under-19 national team over this past summer, but couldn't play in the World Championships because of mono, so missed a chance during the summer to really expand his game. But you wouldn't know it from the sophomore numbers. He's put up 6 double-doubles and 7th in the league in rebounding.
Double-digit scoring in all but 3 ACC games this year.
He's been terrific. BC again patient on offense, taking the shot clock under 10.
And that's what Coach Steve Donahue had them working on the day and shoot around, was being patient, making the extra pass against the zone.
Rayhan nearly turned it over, doesn't matter, shot clock violation. Steve Donahue with an encouraging clap from the sideline, but taking a look at Fonz's focus, you talked about the rule of 10. The turnovers are high.
The turnovers are high, and at one point before that last basket for Syracuse, half of Syracuse's 12 points had come off of those turnovers.
And BC already as many turnovers as they have averaged over their last 7 games, but now Syracuse returns the favor, and that's only their first turnover with 5.5 minutes to go in the first half.
Jeremy Grant thought that Tyler Ennis was going to fake up and then go back to the corner, so he threw the basketball there, except he faked low and went high. That's what created that turnover. Syracuse, with their defense, has to create some pace to this game. I think they can push it even off made baskets because this Boston College team is very thin. Not a lot of reserve players, and they can wear this team down.
Another BC turnover. Lonnie Jackson threw it over the head of Ryan Anderson. Cooney in transition, off the mark. Granted offensive rebound. Back up over Odio, that won't go. But there's C.J. Fair to stuff it back up.
Syracuse really starting to assert themselves on that offensive board. Great timing on both sides and the strength. How about that finish by C.J. Fair, hanging in the air to throw that one down.
Olivier Hanlon and Ryan Anderson have to show up offensively at some point for BC here. Only 11 points through about 16 minutes. Finally, a jumper goes down for Ryan Anderson.
Notice on that one, straight up and down on that shot. He's got such a nice touch, but when he's fading away, the basketball's been hitting the front of the rim. We've seen that twice from the free throw line area. Much better execution on that, Jay.
That's his first field goal. Grant shakes and bakes, but a foul called underneath, it looks like, against Rakeem Christmas. That will be his second away from the ball. So it goes back to BC.
When Syracuse is at their best, they're making strong moves inside and attacking the offensive board. C.J. Fair with perfect timing there. And if you want to continue to break down that zone, you have to get into open areas, have your hands ready to be a receiver. Ryan Anderson looking much better on that jump shot.
And how quickly he got that jump shot up. To your point earlier, quick decisions gives you a chance against the Syracuse baseline.
Their length, speed, and athleticism will close you down just like that if you don't take advantage of the opportunity early.
It's another bad pass by Lonnie Jackson, and it results in a little flip finger roll by Tyler Ennis at the other end.
His ability to change speeds, change direction, uncanny. You don't see that a whole lot from guards throughout the country. He's so patient, even when he's amongst people inside.
Patrick Heckman up at the scorer's table for BC. We'll see if he comes on for Jackson, who has turned it over twice in the last 3 offensive possessions. Shot clock again, winding down under 10. Olivier Hanlon, old school floater, no good. There's Odio, kept alive by Anderson. Kicks it back out, Hanlon down the lane. Blocking foul called on Grant. So Olivier Hanlon to shoot free throws. When we come back, not the first time we've seen the look of disagreement over on that Syracuse sideline from the legend.
All you aspiring point guards out there, watch ENNIS get into the middle of the floor, a little change of direction, and the old school finger roll. Pearl would be proud.
Chris Cotter in studio back in Bristol. I'll be joined by Dan Dockich for the Land Rover halftime report coming up in a bit. Florida having some issues, and they're at home tonight. We'll have highlights of this one and a look ahead to the battle on Tobacco Road Thursday night in the Dean Dome. Duke and Carolina all coming up. Land Rover halftime report, Bob.
Well, Chris, we'll have both of those games Thursday night. It's not only going to be the battle for Tobacco Road between Duke and Carolina, but then Saturday night, 7 Eastern, it will be Syracuse heading down to Cameron. The rematch of what may be the basketball game of the year in college hoops. Rashid Suleiman hitting that overtime forcing three. Yes. What a game it was between Duke and Syracuse. And the question I'm sure Syracuse fans are having, is our squad looking ahead a little bit to Saturday night and the trip down to Durham with 3 minutes to go here in the first half? They are in an almost non-existent offensive matchup between the Cuse and BC and Boston College, a one-possession game with 3 minutes to go in the half.
They've done what they should do, Boston College. Control the tempo, not give up a lot of second chance opportunities, and do not allow this Syracuse team to get out in transition. You know, the key so far for this game, Syracuse was down early. Now they're up by 3. They forced Boston College into 10 turnovers and have 12 of their 18 points off of those turnovers. And that's really been the key to this game so far for the Cuse.
Anderson out of the double team, finds Heckman on the drive, and the right-handed finish for Patrick Heckman.
How about he shows the ball in the air to get the defender to challenge the shot, and then rolls it around the left side. Nicely done by Patrick Heckman.
And Heckman did come on for Lonnie Jackson, who had those 2 turnovers. ENNIS flips it to Fair. Terrific play. Freshman to All-American senior.
His vision, not only in the open floor, but when he gets into gaps in half court, exceptional.
Both ENNIS and Fair on the midseason top 25 Wooden Award list, and both deserve to be there.
Yes.
And then create space and create a little too much space. An offensive foul signaled by Lamar Simpson.
Watch as they get into the gap. Tyler Ennis is terrific. Eyes are always up, looking to see if he has guys available. C.J. Fair, no one in the area code underneath. Easy lay-in by number 5 in orange.
Ennis has another.
That's another thing I love about him is as he's probing, looking for opportunities to pass as a pass first point guard, he has the ability to really step into that jump shot quickly to get it off. I think Ryan Anderson, number 12 in white, needs to be the one at that free throw line area because of his ability to stick that shot from there.
Heckman finds Rayhan. Thought about a 3, drives it instead. Back to Heckman for 3. Air ball. Odio had it fall right in his lap. It ends up with Anderson and a kick back out. Did he beat the shot clock? The officials say no, as Heckman couldn't get that one off. And it is a shot clock violation.
Some missed opportunities here early from Boston College have really hurt them. Not going quickly around the rim, some turnovers early, and you can't do that against the Syracuse Orange or they will make you pay.
Ennis. Grant just about left alone and lays it in, plus the foul. A chance for a three-point play again for Jeremy Grant.
Bob, I talked to you earlier about the need to turn your shoulder when you get in the gap. Look how he turns his inside left shoulder to draw the contact and the concentration along with the strength to get it up on the glass and in. He's really been working on that 15 to 17 foot jump shot. We know that he's tough around the rim, but if he can expand his game, he'll be tough to guard for the Cuse.
Jackson back on for Odio. That foul on Ryan Anderson, his first. About a 7-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock.
I wonder why in college basketball teams don't go 2 for 1 like we do in the NBA. It's rare that you see teams do that.
You think coaches are confident enough that their team is going to get a good enough look their first trip down if they hurry to make it worth it?
Especially with Boston College, they have so many shooters and ball handlers on the floor. I would think that it would be good for a team like that.
Hanlon up top to Rayhan for 3. No good. And a foul away from the ball underneath on BC.
I thought Rayhan should have taken the first one. Sometimes when you don't take the initial one and on that little escape dribble, it's a much more difficult shot to make. For everyone who's saying that this Boston College team is soft, how about that one? Ryan Anderson throwing him out of the way there.
Got whistled, though, and that's number 2 on Anderson. Only team foul number 6.
It's a frustration foul right there, Bob.
10 seconds to go in the half. Ennis to Grant. Gets a return from the wing. Off the mark. The tip follow rolls off for Grant. And we will head to halftime with Boston College down by 8 as Syracuse ends the first half on a 7-0 run. The second lowest halftime score this season for Syracuse, but they still have an 8-point lead. 25-17, the number 1 team in the nation has the lead at the half. Chris Cotter, Dan Dockich now, the Land Rover halftime report.
Thank you, Bob. Dan Dockich is here with me in the Land Rover halftime report. Let's talk about Auburn and Florida right now at the O'Connell Center. So you think the number 2 team in the country would have no issues, but they did. Casey Prather looking to get off to a good start. Down by 3 already here. Devin Walker's going to find Michael Frazier for the 3. He's one of those guys at Florida that can light it up from the outside.
Yeah, Florida's shooting the ball well from the threes. 9 total baskets, 6 3-pointers, but they're only shooting 39% for the game, and that's a formula. If you don't shoot the ball well, you got a chance to get beat.
Taj Shamsuddin giving Auburn the lead here. Now Prather. Oh, that's a nice little move. He's gotten a lot better, hasn't he?
He has gotten so much better. 3.5 points a game last year. Right from the get-go this year, Chris, he's just been tough and confident.
Shamsuddin, though, hitting the 3 here. And look at this. Auburn with a 5-point lead, about 2.5 minutes left to go in this game. So, I mean, when you think about this Florida team, why do you think they're struggling so much right now? Just sort of that letdown of Auburn coming in?
Yeah, I think, you have a big game against Kentucky. Game day's there. And these are kids. These are 18 to 22-year-olds. And all of a sudden now it's Auburn. And everybody and their mother's telling them, look, they're no good. You're going to beat them. They haven't beat anybody. Auburn, it's Auburn. And I'm telling you what, this is the time of year. And I say it all the time. teams go away or take off based on who kids are listening to. Like, a Big Ten coach told me, I just want to be the third in line of what kids are listening to. I know I'm not going to be first. I just want to be third. So I don't think Florida was really listening to Billy D.
Well, Syracuse is hanging on right now, 25-17 lead over Boston College at home. What do you make of the uniform? So that's the big talk of the town.
Hey, I work with you, Mike Tirico. I work with you every Tuesday. We're guys, man. We're boys. You and me, Mike Tirico. Write a check. Get the Q some unis. Those are horrible.
Hey, I got an idea. Why don't you write a check to your alma mater and get that roof fixed, all right?
Oh, man.
Here are some tweets about these uniforms out there. A lot of folks wanted to chime in. Uncle Ebenezer saying, orange jerseys, blue shorts. Ladies and gentlemen, the Syracuse Hobos. Jersey and shorts should always be the same color. It's like old school Hoosiers. Remember in Hoosiers, you had the red and the gold?
Yeah.
It's, the 50s and 60s kind of look. How much trouble is the Syracuse equipment guy going to get in for bringing the wrong shorts to the arena today? Good one by John Boyle and then Ryan Fagan. Those throwback Syracuse jersey tops are pretty great. Just wish the shorts had arrived on time, too. Back in your day, you used to wear the dual color, didn't you?
No, we wore one color, but our shorts were short, baby. And hopefully, I'll go with the dual colors, but never, under any circumstances, bring the short shorts back. But those look ridiculous. I mean, I'm a Cuse fan.
As long as
I know Gary Gate. We were talking lacrosse.
Good Lord. As long as they win and look forward to Saturday, that's the most important thing. Duke has to win, too, to sort of set up the big showdown on Saturday. It ain't going to be easy because they're playing at Chapel Hill on Thursday. We'll preview this one coming up.
Welcome back to the Land Rover Halftime Report.
Huge three-day stretch for Duke, culminating with Syracuse on Saturday night. But first, they got to get by Carolina in the Dean Dome Thursday night on ESPN. And after starting ACC play 1-4, Carolina, they've won 7 straight games. since beginning the streak as well on January 26th against Clemson. North Carolina, they've got the highest BPI in the country right now, so they're playing some really good basketball, Dan. What's been the turnaround from the beginning of January for them?
You know, you saw the numbers. They're up to 78 points a game here lately, and I think it's Marcus Page. When Roy Williams has a really good, fast point guard that he's connected to, they're really good. This goes back to Adonis Jordan way back in his early days at Kansas. And this kid here, Marcus Page, is averaging 20 points a game over his last 4, 6 assists. He's been playing absolutely confidently. I mean, so confidently. And when Roy Williams has that, he has a really good team because Roy wants to play fast. He wants to get the ball and go. He doesn't want to play slow, but he needs an igniter. He needs a guy to get him into offense that can make shots. And I got to tell you, last 4 games, Marcus Page has played as well as any point guard around.
And we've seen with Duke, looking at Jabari Parker, he's played as well as anybody around.
Yeah.
And it might start with Jabari Parker, but it certainly doesn't finish there with the Duke Blue Devils because they can get it done from the outside, and they're getting it done.
You know, when I watch Duke in games like this, I always say to myself, all right, the other team's going to play their brains out. We know that. Everything's going to be, let's go, let's go, let's go. But the bottom line is if Duke makes threes, they're going to win this basketball game. Now, here's the deal. They were 10 of 18 against Georgia Tech. Nobody shoots 10 of 18 consistently, so things have a tendency to even out. So what happens is you hope that Duke doesn't, or Duke fans hope, that Duke doesn't drop a little 5 for 25 on them. You do that, you're going to get beat in this game. If Duke shoots the ball well from the three-point line, Duke's going to win a game.
ESPN's going to be all over Tobacco Road here in the next few days. Reese, Jay, Will, and Seth are going to be there at the Dean Dome for North Carolina Duke on Thursday night. And then I'm flying down. It's going to be me, Seth, and Jay Billis Friday and Saturday from Cameron Indoor. I got this Carolina blue tie on tonight. I'm going to get rid of that tie.
Hey, Gary Gate, by the way. Gary Gate is the Michael Jordan of lacrosse, by the way.
He's still talking lacrosse. More highlights coming up.
This halftime report is presented by Land Rover. Above and beyond. This halftime report is presented by Land Rover. Above and beyond.
Aaron Kraft in Ohio State taking on Northwestern in Columbus. First half, Buckeyes up 1 at this point. Kraft Well, he does his thing here, Coach. Breaks down the defense.
Yeah, he breaks down the defense on the right side. Usually, he always goes right, and it's amazing how he gets to the rim doing that.
Drew Crawford is going to knock down the three-pointer, though. So Northwestern on the road, giving Ohio State a little bit of a tough time early on. Buckeyes, though, now down one. Trey McDonald is going to do the same thing.
See, I think Trey McDonald should play more. He's a good player with a lot of bounce and energy.
Buckeyes up by 4 at the half. Mick Cronin in Cincinnati visiting Central Florida. Trap game for Cincinnati on the road down there in Orlando. Well, Sean Kilpatrick is going to do his best job to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it can only be a trap game if the other team is any good.
Central Florida has not been to this point. There's always tomorrow, though.
Look at this score. This is on the road, and Sean Kilpatrick, I tell you what, he's an All-American. He's exactly what we're missing in college basketball. Kid that hung with it, got better as a senior, becomes an All-American.
Well, you can watch him on ESPNU right now as Cincinnati is just laying the wood to Central Florida. Not so, though, over at Fairfax, Virginia. George Mason giving St. Louis a hard time.
Well, Jimmy Cruz recruited me. He was dumb enough to do that to Indiana, and he's done a spectacular job with St. Louis. But George Mason, look, on the road when you're the 10th-ranked team in the country and you're going to George Mason, that's tough. That's really tough.
Well, it's tougher in the Carrier Dome right now for Boston College. Tyler Ennis finding Jeremy Grant here down low. Or C.J. Fair.
Syracuse has a great women's softball coach, too.
Stop it.
Welcome back to Wednesday Night Hoops and the ACC on ESPN. Set for the start of the second half here at the Carrier Dome. It's Syracuse with an 8-point lead. 17 points in the first half. The least that Syracuse has allowed in a half this season. The 25 points that Syracuse scored. Tied for second least scored offensively in a half this season by Syracuse. Pablo Shoes and LaFonso Ellis. Boston College made the first half slow and ugly, which is exactly what they thought they needed to do. Great teams find a way to play any style, and Syracuse leading in an ugly game.
Indeed, Boston College controlling the tempo early, but I thought Syracuse did a beautiful job of taking advantage of the mismatch that C.J. Fair had Can't guard him with the guard inside. Joe Rayhan, only 6'2", CJ able to beat him off the bounce. And then they were able to find him on some movement inside versus straight posting him. And again, you have a guard on the inside, it is curtains. But what really hurt this Boston College team are the turnovers. 12 turnovers in the first half. 17 points off those turnovers. How about that? Syracuse with 25 points in the game, but 17 of those points coming off turnovers. If Boston College hopes to climb back into this basketball game, they have to continue to protect their backboard and not turn the basketball over.
You mentioned the rule of 10 at the start, key categories where Boston College felt the total had to be 10 or less. And Steve Donahue said turnovers.
Yes.
We cannot commit more than 10 turnovers. They had 12 turnovers, as you said, in the first half alone.
Yeah, 14 turnovers for the entire game the last time these two teams played, but only 2 threes in the first half as well, and that is a formula for them to win. Right now, that formula is working against them. Syracuse up by 8. See how hesitant Ryan Anderson is when he catches the basketball? That's got to be a quick one because they're so long and athletic. They're coming quickly and corral you just like that.
He got smothered by Fair. Fair the other way. Outside to Cooney. Ennis returns to Cooney. He hits a 3. And it's a double-digit lead for Syracuse.
This kind of looked like it did at Chestnut Hill. Turnovers, missing opportunities defensively and defensive assignments. Boston College is going to have to settle down here and try to get themselves some good looks.
Lonnie Jackson with a 3 early in the shot clock.
Too quick of a shot for Lonnie Jackson.
Fair with some English off the backboard, rolls it home. And a timeout quickly called by Steve Donahue. It took Syracuse close to 6 minutes of the first half to get their first field goal. They've got 2 field goals in the first minute and 17 seconds of the second half.
How sick, insane was that move by CJ Fair? Hanging in the air for a little while, a little English on that thing. Pearl Washington influence in the house.
You started on this Wednesday night of college basketball on ESPN2. Coming up next, it's Washington and Oregon. CJ Wilcox, who leads the Huskies and is 3rd in the Pac-12 in scoring, over 18 a game. And then New Mexico will take on UNLV. And Roscoe Smith for the Rebels leads the Mountain West in rebounding. averaging a double-double, 11 points and 11 rebounds per game. So 2 good ones coming up as soon as we're done back-to-back here at Syracuse. And Boston College is going to have to make a few plays to convince us that they're not done. Down 30-17, 90 seconds into the second half.
Ryan Anderson, when he catches that basketball, he's one-on-one with Christmas inside. He has to make a play.
He immediately gets double-teamed every time he touches the ball beneath the free throw line and gets trapped here and has to call timeout. Boston College with about a 4.5-minute field goal drought. And ESPN's coverage of the NBA continues with a Friday night doubleheader. First at 8, Kenneth Faried and the Nuggets take on Joakim Noah and the Bulls. And then at 10:30, Rajon Rondo back now for the Celtics. They'll meet the Lakers. NBA Friday presented by State Farm starts with Kia NBA Countdown at 7:30 on ESPN. Both games live on Watch ESPN.
Watch when it's a little bit before that one, but when he catches the basketball on the low block, Ryan Anderson, number 12 in white, he has to make a quick decision to go to the basket. In fact, when he caught it against Christmas, the baseline is wide open, and he's really good with that quick little spin to the basket. I felt he's been tentative so far in this game, and when you're playing against guys like that inside, you have to be a little bit mean. Look like you're going to go up and dunk the basketball, elbow someone to give yourself some space inside.
Here's Anderson catching it down low, and it's held. Possession arrow gives it to Syracuse. Another tie-up. Syracuse has been very effective with the double team of Anderson every time he catches the ball down low.
And because they know that he's tentative, they're going to continue to do it. It's almost like a big bully in the schoolyard. Is eventually Ryan Anderson's going to have to make a strong physical play to get them to back off of him a little bit. C.J. Fair still has that mismatch inside with Rayhan, number 25 in white, that Syracuse can try to exploit.
Grant comes up short.
Ryan Anderson actually looks a little winded too. Playing out of position as a 5. He's really a 4 guy, but with Dennis Clifford, their 7-footer being out, it forces him to play the 5 spot, and that can really wear on you playing against the kind of size that you see night in and night out in the ACC.
Odio for 3. Knocks it down. First field goal of the second half for BC comes nearly 3 minutes in, but makes it a 10-point game.
It's a shot that Odio can make. He's shooting 50% from the 3-point line in conference play. Boston College needs a lot more of those 3 balls if they hope to climb back into this game.
Pete Christmas kept alive the miss by Fair, and that frees things up. Ennis on the drive, can't hit. Anderson has the rebound, and here comes Lonnie Jackson.
So he's looking to pass it when he catches it inside. Ryan Anderson has to make a play. He's one of the most talented offensive players that Boston College has on this team.
Olivier Hanlon also to this point with only 1 field goal. There's Anderson,
nice.
Quick decision, no good. Odio called for the foul.
He missed it, but I like the play, an aggressive play. He has hook shots over both sides. He gets a seal on the inside, one-on-one. Anytime you can get one-on-one on the interior with Syracuse, you have to make a play. I don't like the fact that he floated away from the rim. He's got to go up a little bit more vertically, a little stronger to make that basketball go in on the inside.
Close to the under 16 timeout, so Ryan Anderson will get a rest. Casey Cottle comes on to replace him. Benajay sets up Ennis. The 3 rattles down for the freshman Tyler Ennis.
By the time you cannot help on the flat drive, and what I mean by that is sometimes Syracuse, they drive on a non-threatening kind of flat drive. Don't come and help, because if you do, Syracuse has so many 3-point shooters, especially with this lineup in on the floor, and they'll make you pay.
Hanlon answers. That's a big shot from Olivier Hanlon. Only his 2nd field goal.
1 of 5 at halftime. They have to look, Boston College, to get the basketball in his hands, even in transition, to try to get some easy looks, because he is terrific off the bounce.
Fair. Just a little too strong. Rayhan tries to push for BC.
Hanlon was open to his right.
Hanlon gets a screen. Quickly stepping up to help, though, is Cooney. Hanlon goes the other way, gets to the baseline, sets up Jackson, allows the flyby, a long two, rolls off. Cottle kept it alive. Jackson attacks, hands it off, and a reset for Hanlon.
Got to score that one for him. You get the basketball point blank range, that basketball needs to go up on the board. See, with Ryan Anderson out of the game now, with Casey Cottle in, number 5, he's not a scorer, so now it allows Syracuse's zone to be able to match up against shooters. They're going to have a tough time trying to attack the gaps.
Shot clock winding down, losing it on the drive. A foul called. Hanlon may have drawn contact enough for Carl Hess to say, yes, it is a foul against Syracuse. It'll go against Rakeem Christmas. 10-point lead for the Cuse here at the Dome. Appointment television if you're a college basketball fan. Bob Wischusen and LaFonso Ellis back here at the Carrier Dome, the last test for Syracuse before they go to Duke on Saturday. But of course tomorrow night Duke will take on Carolina at the Dean Dome. Both of those games at 7 Eastern. We'll have both of them for you on ESPN. What are the odds, in your opinion, come Saturday night that Syracuse is still undefeated? After the way that game went down here against Duke, you think they go down to Cameron and get the job done on Saturday?
It's going to be tough at Cameron just because the improved play of Rasheed Suleiman, when he's in that lineup, now you have 4 3-point shooters on the floor and 3 guys who can attack you off the bounce. And so that's going to make it a little bit more difficult. I'm saying that Syracuse will lose to Duke at Cameron.
There's a 3 from Rayhan, and that cuts the lead down to 7 as Boston College doing whatever they can to keep hope alive. They trailed by 8 at halftime, and now they're down by 7. A foul called underneath. This will go against Cottle. Well, Syracuse undefeated, and Duke with 3 losses in the conference. One of those about as heartbreaking as you could have. That battle here at the Carrier Dome. And Virginia, the team that no one really seems to spend any time talking about. I don't know if there's a less discussed team in the top 15 of the poll.
Absolutely.
Flying on the baseline. baseline and throwing it down to C.J. Fair. A rebound away from a double-double for Fair.
You're speaking of Virginia. Malcolm Brogdon, one of the most improved players in the ACC. You and I thought that they can get to a Final Four, but we thought they may be one player away from a guy who can go get you a bucket from winning the national championship. But trust me, Virginia will be in the Final Four. They are loaded with some big guards who are athletic, can get to the rim and defend.
Hanlon with a step-back three that comes up short. Here comes Ennis. That's an early call. You're saying Virginia will be in the Final Four.
I really like Virginia. And the more I see them, the more I like them.
They could get there. There's no doubt. Hesitation by Fair, and he'll go to the line.
C.J. Fair, ACC Player of the Year preseason. And that's one of the things I love about him is his versatility. He can drill it from the outside, not shooting it as well as he did last year from the three-point line, but his improved ability to put the basketball on the floor, especially going to his right, has made him a much more complete ball player.
Second foul called on Casey Cottle. He'll be replaced by Ryan Anderson. Patrick Heckman comes back on for Eddie Odio as well, as Syracuse has pushed the lead back to double figures. C.J. Fair was the ACC preseason player of the year. Although right now, if you have to hand out that award, my vote would be Jabari Parker.
Pretty good. But I have to throw K.J. Daniels, who's making a pretty good run down at Clemson, too. This kid against North Carolina State the other night, he was fabulous. But I think you're right. Jabari Parker, hands down. But I tell you what, I don't want to make that call. Because C.J. Fair down the stretch, I expect him to have big games down the final stretch of this season.
Rahon, too strong from the elbow. And Jeremy Grant fumbles it out of bounds.
But I do think it's fair to say that if he continues to play at the level that freshman has played at so far, there's no way that there'll be anyone who can keep Jabari Parker from winning Player of the Year in the ACC.
Inside out, Lonnie Jackson with a kick back to Olivier Hanlon. And Boston College won't go away. They're still within 8, which is exactly where the deficit was at halftime. And we come up on 8 minutes gone by in the second half.
Much better lineup now that Ryan Anderson is back in the game, because it forces you to have to pay attention to 5 guys on the floor, all who can stick it, and they're taking advantage of it right now.
Fair turns it over. Lonnie Jackson with a hit ahead, and Heckman will go to the basket. High off the glass, and here comes Tyler Ennis.
I thought he was fouled on that play. I thought he was hitting the head.
Ennis tripped up by Heckman. That's a dangerous play in the open floor. Not a dirty play at all, but scary for a Syracuse fan when you see your all-everything freshman point guard go down hard in transition. Ennis looks okay.
Chris Kiner, Dan Dockich, and Bristol down in Gainesville. Auburn really giving Florida a hard time here. Patrick Young finishing on this side, though, Dan, but it's been tough for Florida.
Yeah, just a matter of time. Florida will go ahead and win this game, but Billy Donovan's got a lot to get on his team about. And by the way, I like Syracuse's uniforms now.
Now back to what's going on around the rest of the world of college basketball. Shockers trying to stay unbeaten. Cincinnati hammering Central Florida over on ESPNU. Bob, Fonz?
All of Syracuse Nation breathes a sigh of relief that the Dan Dockett seal of approval has been given to the orange and blue unis. Wichita is underway in their game against Loyola, so the two remaining unbeatens both in action tonight. Florida, according to Dan Dockett, just a matter of time before they outlast Auburn at home. But that game, 41-41 in the second half. And now Benajay is called for a foul after he missed the three and tried to knife inside of Joe Rehan. That's his second. Second team foul against Syracuse in the second half, and Boston College has the ball back, down by 8. LaFonso, that's exactly where they were at halftime. So they've played the Cuse even here in the second half, but have not been able to get anything going consistently on offense.
And part of that is they've been so tentative. They're so much better when they're in an aggressive mindset to score the basketball, whether it be around the basket or in transition. It looked like that. They have to knock it down.
Great pass from Heckman. He gets inside the zone, kicks it back out to Hanlon. That's Olivier Hanlon's third three, and it's a 5-point game. A foul called on Heckman, trying to check Jeremy Grant. That's team foul number 5 against the Eagles.
I got to give credit to Coach Steve Donahue. We haven't seen him do that tonight. When the basketball's going down in the post, they've been double teaming it hard, trying to take away vision. I think they need to double team C.J. Fair down there as well. Nice reaction by Ryan Anderson coming over to help his teammate out.
Yeah, that time the double team came, and the block shot from Anderson.
Boston College is 5 of 7 in the second half from 3.
Fair sets up Grant. No good. Tipped around. Rakeem Christmas draws the foul. Eddie Corbett says that Olivier Hanlon reached in and got Christmas on the wrist. So Rakeem Christmas, who in the absence of Bai Musakeda, who was out with the sprained knee that he suffered against Clemson, in his last couple of games, Christmas has played an average of 35 minutes, 10.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 5 blocks per game. And the Thursday night showcase tomorrow night takes us from the Big Ten to the ACC. First at 7, Michigan State will take on Purdue, and then at 9, it's arguably the greatest rivalry in all of college sports. Jabari Parker and Duke taking on Marcus Page and the Heels. The Thursday night showcase presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups tomorrow night.
Tell you, we shouldn't overlook what Michigan State has been able to accomplish. They are tied with Michigan for #1 in the Big Ten. And you talk about all the injuries that they've had. Their ability to be able to dig down inside and come up with big plays and winning big games when they've needed it. I don't think we should overlook that.
And a loss to Nebraska at home hurts. Deflected ball into the backcourt, tracked down by Jackson, 8 to shoot. Lonnie Jackson creates some space, gives it up. Anderson attacks and scores. And Boston College is within 4.
See how he attacked the basket? There was no thought on that catch by Ryan Anderson. He was going to go to the rim. They need more of that, Boston College, from him down this stretch run of the game.
Jeremy Grant out of the double team, sets up Christmas, and a good tie up underneath. And that is smart play by Olivier Hanlon to force Christmas to go to the free throw line. That's the third foul, though, on Olivier Hanlon.
Well, by the double teaming, and when you double team big to big that way, you have to take away the vision, because if he can see on the other side, you'll be able to find people on the weak side of the floor. That time they were able to find Christmas underneath the basket.
It was an 8-1 Boston College run before Christmas hit that free throw. McDonald's All-American when he was in high school, averaged 5 points, 4.5 rebounds last season, basically putting up the same numbers this year, and now a bad foul by Jeremy Grant. He went over the back of Ryan Anderson and commits the third Syracuse team foul.
Last 5 minutes of this game, Boston College has done a nice job of not only controlling the tempo of this game, but they've not turned the basketball over. They've been able to get some three-point looks off dribble penetration as well.
I guess you can make an argument Boston College has controlled the tempo throughout. They've made this the slow, ugly, low-scoring game they knew they needed to have it be. But do they have enough offense?
Dribble penetration's been pretty good. Ryan Anderson's been able to catch one inside and go quickly. They need more of that from him in the second half.
Hanlon tries again here. Pulls up. Rolls one off the rim, but he'll go to the line.
I was going to say, I thought he was fouled. I couldn't hear the whistle blow in my headphones. But that's the kind of aggressive plays that Boston College has to continue to make in this second half if they're hoping to get a big win on the road against the Cuse.
It was Tyler Ennis called for the foul, so Olivier Hanlon, who's an 82% free throw shooter, will go to the line to try and make it a one-possession game. 9.5 minutes to go in the second half, and Boston College, not only have they not gone away, but they've made it a game.
But they've been able to step behind the three-point line and behind the ball handler to knock some down. But this is where they've been really good, confidently stroking the basketball. And now they've been able to get it to the free throw line area, sucking in that defense and knocking down some threes. Look at the dribble penetration. Nice jump stop and spin, kicking it back to Hanlon for three. And it's these kind of plays that have gotten Boston College back in the game, only down 5 on the road against the Cuse.
Now, not unlike the game that you called the last time these two teams met back in January. BC had an 8-point second half lead. You were waiting for the Syracuse avalanche to come. It eventually did. So if you're Jim Boeheim, who do you go to try and put this game on ice? Because I'm sure he's probably waiting for his team to take things over.
Well, C.J. Fair has been terrific. 18 points here in this game. If they can continue to get it to him down on the low post, he can create a double team down low and take Rayhan anytime he wants. But as we look at the focus right there, now the numbers for Boston College are starting to look more favorable. We said they had to make over 10 threes. They had to control the defensive backboard. The area of the game that's really hurt them, the turnovers in the first half.
They only have 1 second half turnover. 12 in the first half, only 1 so far in the second half. Up to 7 threes and within 3 with 9:24 to go. Fair sets up Cooney. Quick trigger. Off the mark. Rakeem Christmas with an offensive rebound. And he's fouled by Odio.
This lineup right now for Syracuse, C.J. Fair, Rakeem Christmas, and Grant, they're long, athletic, and they're quick jumpers. So if you're Ryan Anderson and Odio inside for Boston College, you not only have to box them out, you have to move them backwards because their length, quick jumping, and athleticism, they can get to those offensive rebounds. Rakeem Christmas has been a bit inconsistent over his career, but has had some wow moments, as you saw against North Carolina State. 14 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 blocks. If they can get something, even half of that kind of production along the way, Syracuse may hang another banner up here in the Carrier Dome.
Hanlon bumped on the drive. The shot went down, but Eddie Corbett had already signaled that foul on the floor, and he was already turning to the scorer's table to signal the foul against Syracuse before Hanlon even shot. So team foul number 5 against Syracuse.
Hanlon's so tough on that ball screen because if he sees a little gap with that hesitation dribble, does a nice job of jumping through the middle of the gap.
It was Tyler Ennis' second personal foul. Hanlon to the corner, sets up Rayhan. He hits a triple. Rayhan from the wing, and it's a 2-point game.
Bob, we said in the second half, threes coming off dribble penetration has been really good for Boston College. They've been able to get in the gap due to Hanlon being so aggressive off the bounce. Syracuse is going to have to make the adjustment to take away the dribble penetration.
Ennis floats one to Grant. Tipped away on the turnover. Anderson able to get it to Rayhan. Lonnie Jackson in traffic. Rayhan drives it. Tries to wrap one around to Anderson and does. The pump fake. And the finish inside by Ryan Anderson. And we are tied. Coming up on 8 minutes to go.
The entire team a lot more aggressive offensively, and that's been the difference for Boston College.
A timeout called by Syracuse as Jim Boeheim doesn't seem to be nearly as worried about the fact that it's 41-41 as the Carrier Dome crowd is.
Syracuse's inability to contain the dribble drive has led to wide open jump shots for Boston College. And when they're knocking down the three ball, this team is so much more confidence. And look at the drive. Ryan Anderson getting good angle here, making a good decision, going up strong with the basketball. And that's the kind of effort, focus, and intensity that this Boston College team needs to play with if they're hoping to steal one on the road against the 'Cuse.
Syracuse at 25-0, the best start in program history. Not only are they 12-0 inside the ACC, but outside the ACC, they've got wins over the likes of Minnesota, Cal, Baylor, Indiana, a red-hot St. John's team now. That's a casualty of the Orange earlier this season. Villanova's been a top 10 team almost the entire year, but they have certainly had some close tests that they have survived, and Boston College putting a little scare into them here. CJ Fair, too strong. Grant, offensive rebound. Held ball. Boston College will have a chance to take the lead when we come back. A BC team that is 2-10 in the ACC.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state.
Rifle it to the baseline. Block. Rebound. Curley. Block. He's got to get rid of it. He's got to get the three right now. Three to win it. Yeah, he wins it. He wins it for BC. He wins it for BC.
We showed you the Pearl Washington midcourt heave in the first half, but that's not the only amazing finish between these two teams, going back to what used to be an old Big East rivalry between Boston College and Syracuse. That back in 1992. Howard Isley beat the buzzer, and BC beat Syracuse in overtime. That was a group of Boston College Eagles that eventually got to the Elite Eight of the NCAA tournament before falling to the Andrew DeClercq Florida team that would go to the Final Four.
Howard Isley had a long NBA career, and now an assistant coach for the Los Angeles Clippers. And was that Bill Curley? Bill Curley used to give me the business when we were in school. I could not guard that tough left-hander.
BC with a chance to take the lead. 13 on the shot clock. Floated pass to Anderson. This time he's not double-teamed. Lonnie Jackson for three. No good. Long rebound. Anderson has it. And a chance for a reset for Boston College.
Ryan Anderson, when he caught that basketball, that's one of the few times this second half that I felt that he was a little passive. When he catches it in there, he can make a one-on-one move. He has the capability of finishing.
Heckman penetrates off to Anderson. Muscles it up. This time it's good again. 7 minutes to go, and BC has the lead.
Ryan Anderson so much better when he's going quickly when he catches the basketball, playing with a lot of confidence here in the second half.
Boston College with their first lead since the 8:15 mark of the first half. Ennis can't answer. Rakeem Christmas rolls one off the rim on the putback. Another effort inside by Jeremy Grant, and he draws the foul.
Syracuse is unbelievable in how they attack the offensive glass. How about this one? How in the world did that basketball not go in? But when he's on the floor, you have to know where Grant is and box him out. He is outstanding on the offensive boards.
Third foul on Ryan Anderson. So Jeremy Grant, 19 games in double figures this season, 6 double-doubles. Can't tie it up. 1 of 2 at the line. 3 fouls for Ryan Anderson and Olivier Hanlon. That's something that Steve Donahue will have to monitor over the last 6.5 minutes.
Does Boston College have enough gas to try to finish this game? They're thin across their bench, and they're having guys who are playing mega minutes tonight.
Again, they take the shot clock down. Hanlon to the corner. Rayhan for 3. He connects again. A 4-point lead for the Eagles.
The inability to contain the dribble drive has hurt Syracuse this second half.
You gotta contest. That bucket goes, and it's in traffic. Boston College is 7 of 10 from 3 here in the second half, but Tyler Ennis makes it a 2-point game.
This is the time of the game that Tyler Ennis looks to take it over. For Syracuse to win this game is going to have to be on the hands of that young freshman.
Seven to shoot. Olivier Hanlon behind the screen. Line drive, triple won't go. C.J. Fair springs Ennis. He's got Grant on his left. Goes to his right instead and scores. Tyler Ennis ties the game. 5 minutes to go.
He has a sense about when he needs to take the basketball game over. This is Tyler Ennis time right now. The ball screen leading to dribble penetration has been good for Boston College.
Ronnie Jackson pass just makes it to Heckman in the corner. Skips one to Rayhan.
Yeah, I thought he was fouled on that.
The BC bench explodes. It's a shot clock violation.
Yeah, Joe Rayhan was fouled on that play. That should be 3 free throws for that young man.
Let's take another look.
Little shot fake, escape dribble. And clipped him underneath. Clipped him underneath with the feet. Close call, but I thought he was fouled. Rakeem Christmas is working hard, getting good deep post position underneath. They've been unwilling to throw it to him inside.
Ennis in and out, and a foul on Syracuse on the rebound. And that will go against Rakeem Christmas. That's his 4th.
Well, he's posting so hard, Bob, underneath the basket, and he's got 2 feet in the paint underneath. I think Syracuse can throw it into him. He's shown the ability to be able to score when he catches it in that area. Once again, I think Syracuse is making the offense a little too hard right now.
Jim Boeheim will leave Christmas on the floor with 4 fouls. Of course, the zone helps to protect the big man. That was team foul number 6, so now both teams will be in the bonus the rest of the way. Anderson faces up. No good. Ennis throws one into traffic. It's a turnover. Heckman comes back. Heckman tries to go coast to coast, and he's able to finish to give BC the lead again.
Love the game plan on misses, and if it's underneath the basket, they're walking it up the floor, BC. But if it's a longer rebound, then they're pushing it in the open court.
Grant fouled by Hanlon. Boy, that last play One of the rare times where Tyler Ennis looks like a freshman and made a freshman mistake. He never makes a real bad pass like that.
He tried to thread the needle on that one. Boston College, Patrick Heckman, they've needed some points from this young man. I'm telling you, the finger roll is alive. I might try one myself tonight.
Chris Cotter, Dan Dockich in studio. Down at the O'Connell Center, trouble for Florida. Here Coach Casey Prather with the steal, gets it up to Scotty Wilbekin. It's going to take it all the way, but Florida in a dogfight right now.
Tell you what, Auburn just will not go away. They were down 3. Auburn went to the line to tie it up.
Yeah, right. Here's the play. Chris Denson, rather, takes it right to the hole and one. And right now, it is a 1-point Florida lead. About 7.5 left to go down at the O'Connell Center, Bob.
Sounds familiar, Chris Cotter. 3:15 to go in our game here. Syracuse trails Boston College by 2 as we take a look at our Wendy's Wooden Watch. Both of these players making the midseason top 25 list. And hard to argue with C.J. Fair or Tyler Ennis being on that list. But neither has been able to take over the game and deliver the knockout punch to Boston College tonight.
Yeah, Syracuse needs them to make plays. Tyler Ennis generally off the bounce. C.J. Fair in the post area. They still have Boston College Joe Rahan, number 25 in white, who's 6'2", guarding C.J. Fair. I think they can run some cross-screen action, which will allow him to catch the basketball a little closer to the rim, and he can use his size and length along with his quick jump to just shoot it over the top.
That's LaFonso Ellis. I'm Bob Wischusen. 3 minutes away from either an improbable upset and number 1 falling for the first time this season, or Syracuse pulling another one out of the fire and staying unbeaten. Can they do it with 3 minutes to go?
Boston College has been setting that ball screen with Ryan Anderson. They've been able to get in the gap, but when it's been on Olivier Hanlon's hands.
Way outside, trying to beat the timer as Lonnie Jackson comes up short.
And see, I think Hanlon has to handle the basketball the rest of the game. He's your best player for Boston College, and good things have happened when he's been handling the rock.
Trevor Cooney has been quiet tonight. This time he'll drive it. Comes up short. A foul called underneath, though, and it looks like that will be a foul against Boston College. Lonnie Jackson picks up the foul on the scramble underneath.
I couldn't see underneath, but Lonnie Jackson, 20 in white, ended up being on the interior. That's a good call. Not quite positioned properly underneath and went into Christmas's chest.
And it's team foul number 10, so the automatic 2 for Rakeem Christmas. And ESPN's Journey to the Tourney, it's the rematch on Saturday night. Will Syracuse still be undefeated when they take on Jabari Parker and the Blue Devils? ESPN's Journey to the Tourney, presented by Sonic. Syracuse Duke, Saturday at 7 on ESPN.
I think the number of three-point shooters as well as 4 guys on the floor able to attack off the bounce is going to give Syracuse problems against Duke.
Down to 1 timeout remaining as Steve Donahue will spend one here with 2:16 to go. While we have a chance, let's go back to Chris Cotter in the studio.
Well, I want to keep everybody up to date on what's happening down in Gainesville, Auburn, and Florida. Going right down to the wire. About 7 minutes left to go there. Here's Scotty Wilbekin. Nice find to Patrick Young. That's on Seth Greenberg's all-grown man team, Patrick Young. But it's close here. Look at Alan Payne. Going to drill this three-pointer. Auburn, like Boston College, just refusing to go away. Now up 2 with about 5.5 left to go in Gainesville, Bob.
Well, Chris, we've got 2 minutes and 16 seconds to go here at the Dome. Syracuse and Boston College tied at 48. First place, not just in the ACC, but in America at 25-0. Syracuse against a team that's tied for last in their own league. BC has 2 wins in the league this year. They have both come against Virginia Tech, who share the basement with the Eagles in the ACC. So this would be the biggest upset we've probably seen in college basketball this year, if Boston College can pull it off. Syracuse is 52-2 in their last 54 home games, but the crowd's nervous.
Only 2 turnovers in the second half, and being able to knock down the 3-ball is why Boston College has this game tied at 48 apiece.
And they have not abandoned their game plan. They are slowing things down with 10 to shoot. Olivier Hanlon gets a return from Jackson. 5 to shoot. Olivier Hanlon with a fumble. He's going to have to put one up. Through traffic, leans in. That did not draw iron. That'll be a shot clock violation. So Syracuse will have a chance to retake the lead.
Bob, we talked about the fatigue factor for Boston College. I thought when he lost that basketball, you could tell he was kind of stumbling, almost with boxer's legs, trying to recover that basketball for his team. I think the ball's got to be in the hands of C.J. Fair and Tyler Ennis, number 11 in orange. You can take him. That's a guard.
Pretty good job by Jackson to turn back Fair. Now it's Grant spinning in the lane. Hangs and hits. What a shot by the sophomore. The final timeout called here by Steve Donahue. Interesting, with 1:09 to go. You wonder in the last minute, will Boston College need a timeout, but they'll concentrate on this possession.
What a move by Jeremy Grant. He's been working on several things, including his jump shot. And we talked about why this Syracuse team is dangerous. They have a different guy each and every night able to step up and give them big play. Jeremy Grant coming off a 12-point, 14-rebound effort against North Carolina State.
As if Syracuse fans have not had enough heart attacks in the last week. Last Wednesday, Tyler Ennis at Peterson knocks it down from near midcourt. A game-winning 3. And Syracuse survived tonight when it looked like they would lose. And another miracle, Rakeem Christmas with the steal off to Tyler Ennis. Gave it to C.J. Fair. 2 dodged bullets at the buzzer. And Syracuse survived against NC State. So they have won their last 2 ACC games by 3 combined points, both in the final seconds getting game-winning shots. And now with 1:09 to go, they lead Boston College by only 2. But BC has 7 made threes here in the second half. And with 1:09 to go, and Boston College over the double foul limit, Syracuse on their next foul would put BC at the line, but the Eagles out of timeouts.
Yeah, that was kind of a suspect timeout, but I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to kind of settle his team down a little bit, make sure that they get good looks, but also come up with a little game plan should they miss this one, because they may need to foul.
Is there an element to this game that says Syracuse was looking past this to Duke on Saturday night, or would that not be giving BC enough credit?
I think it wouldn't be giving BC enough credit, and the reason is the team that can beat Syracuse is a team that can drive it. They've been able to do that and kick it and knock down threes, and they've also been able to control that backboard and not turn it over. So the formula has really worked well in the second half for Boston College.
Under a minute to go. 10 to shoot for Hamlin. Olivier Hamlin down the lane. Lays it in. We're tied with 47 seconds left. Jim Boeheim has 2 timeouts remaining, and he will call one of them here.
Tell you, we talked about Olivier Hamlin needing the basketball in his hands down the stretch. He is tough off the dribble, little Euro step to step by the defender and able to get it with a little English with the right hand up and in. That's Rakeem Christmas, folks, a guy who can jump out of the gym. 7 blocks in the last game against North Carolina State.
That's LaFonso Ellis. I'm Bob Wischusen. If Boston College wins in the Carrier Dome for the first time since 2002, it would send some shockwaves through college basketball, as you've got the #1 team in America, still undefeated at this point.
Yes.
Where do they go? What does Jim Boeheim draw up here?
You're drawing up a little ball screen action a little later in the clock because they don't need to rush. The score is tied. The basketball will be in Tyler Ennis's hands, and I'd imagine it'll be C.J. Fair, one of their bigs, sending a little ball screen to see if they can get him in the gap. The guy that you have to make sure that you find if you're Boston College, you cannot allow Trevor Cooney to get any airspace to knock down a 3. Bob, we talked about one of the other issues is you have to make sure that you get bodies on guys and not allow Syracuse to get second chance opportunities. That's going to be key in this last 41 seconds of this game.
This looked like a game that Syracuse had all but put away early in the second half with a double-digit lead. BC fought back, and now we're tied. Ennis on the drive. The freshman rolls it off the rim. Tapped around. Hickman after it. Ennis recovers. He took it back. And now the shot clock turned off.
Now they
Jim
can take the
Boeheim
last shot.
immediately says hold for 1. And he'll now spend his final timeout with 20 seconds to go. Ennis had a point-blank look, rolled it off the rim. You've been talking all night, LaFonso, though, about offensive rebounding. And another chance for Syracuse, second chance opportunity here to now hold for the final shot.
Yeah, the problem is that's the responsibility of the guards to track down those long caroms off the rim. The problem is that was Tyler Ennis driving the basketball, so everyone was down in the painted area, and the size, length, athleticism of Syracuse was able to get them a second opportunity here.
All the timeouts have now been spent, and all the fouls have been spent for the most part as well. Neither team with a foul to give. The arrow belongs to Syracuse. Will the game belong to Syracuse by the time we're done? Again, the Orange at 25-0, undefeated, best start in program history, #1 almost unanimously in the polls, going up against a BC team that's 2-10 in the ACC. Now, if you're going to be an undefeated team, you have to be good late, and Syracuse has been exactly that.
They've been terrific, and a lot of it has been on the hands of the freshman, #11 in orange, Tyler Ennis. He's so calm, so patient in situations like this. Syracuse, if they're going to set that high ball screen action, it will be better set with C.J. Fair, because what's happening is Boston College is holding that hedge and show for a long time because they know that Christmas can't step behind it. C.J. Fair can step behind it, so let's see who they set the high ball screen with. Looks like it'll be Rakeem Christmas.
10 seconds to go. Christmas comes to set the screen. Here goes Ennis. Down to 6 seconds to go. Splits the defense. Christmas with the jump hook. No good. Heckman's got it. And he loses it out of bounds as the clock goes to all zeros. It looks as if we are headed to overtime. Wow. Jim Boeheim wants to know whether or not it's worth looking at the replay monitor to see if maybe there'd be just a tenth or two left. And we'll take another look. When does Heckman lose it out of bounds as he comes up the floor?
That's a tough one, because the ball is considered out of bounds once it touches something out of bounds, and I thought the clock had expired by the time the basketball touched the chair.
At full speed, it looked as if at most there would be a tenth or maybe 2/10 of a second. It's hard to imagine they would put as many as 4/10 on the clock. That's what you would need for a catch and shoot opportunity.
Watch the ball. Yeah, I thought it expired by the time it got into the chairs.
And Eddie Corbett actually giving us the signal over from the scorer's table. There is no time left on the clock. So it is official. We are going to overtime. What an effort by Steve Donahue's team. As we head back to the studio, we'll come right back to the Dome.
All right, Bob, Chris Cotter, and Dan Dockich here in studio. We're going to alert you about another potential upset going on right now in Gainesville. KT Harrell hitting the three. Boy, what's the formula for pulling off an upset on the road? You got to shoot the ball from the outside, right?
Yeah, keep the score low, shoot the ball well from the three-point line. That's what Auburn's doing.
10 out of 17 right now, Auburn from beyond the arc. It is a 2-point lead for Auburn right now, late in the going. They're going to keep you up to date there. Wichita State might end up being the only undefeated team at the end of the night, but it ain't easy for them right now in Chicago taking on Loyola. We'll keep you up to date on all these games. For now, back out to Bob and LaFonso with the carrier.
All right, Chris, thanks very much. Bob Wischusen, LaFonso Ellis. What a start to Wednesday Night Hoops. Hopefully the rest of our triple header is as entertaining as Boston College and Syracuse has been. Again, Syracuse early in the second half took a double-digit lead. It looked as if they were in control and might put this game away. BC shot their way back into the game with the three. You think they have enough to get over the top in overtime?
It's going to be tough in overtime because I'm concerned about their fatigue. You talk about a lineup that's already missing Dennis Clifford, very narrow, but how they were able to get back in this game, dribble penetration and knocking down threes. Olivier Hanlon was able to knock one down early. Joe Rayhan hit one behind it, and now they were able to penetrate into the gaps and find three-point shooters. You're talking about a team that only made 2 in the first half. They were able to knock down 7 in the second half, and that's how they find themselves in overtime with the #1 team in the country on the road.
Now, you raised such an interesting point about how much gas in the tank Boston College has at this point. It plays into what Steve Donahue told us today at shoot-around. The fact that this game is 50-50 is not an accident that it's that low scoring, because BC intentionally wanted to slow the game down, milk the clock, walk it up, so that late game they would have some gas left in the tank. I guess we'll now see if that strategy is going to work.
And Bob, they don't play zone, so you can't give yourself an opportunity to rest on the zone, but you can give yourself a chance to rest if you're playing long possessions, and Coach Donahue is hoping that that plays in their favor.
You can make an argument it's already worked. They got the game to overtime, and whoever would have expected that. 10 to shoot. Hanlon tries a three.
Oh!
Boston College strikes first in the extra session.
Tell you, when he's playing confidently and taking big shots, this Boston College team can be awfully tough. Been on a roll, 21 points per game over the last 3.
C.J. Fair leans in, got it.
Bob, that's that mismatch that I've been talking about all night. Whether C.J. catches it at 15 or 17 feet or down in the post, he can rise and shoot over the top of the 6'2 Rayhan at any time.
C.J. Fair has 20. He leads Syracuse.
I like the probe by Rayhan, but the basketball has to be in number 21 hands, Hanlon for Boston College.
Again, the shot clock winding down. Anderson spinning in the lane, turned it over, spun his feet.
And what's been open for Ryan Anderson, if he would just turn and look at the basket, he's one-on-one with Christmas. Christmas knows that he can make that perimeter jump shot, a little shot fake, and he can get to the rim.
That's only BC's 3rd turnover since halftime. They had 12 in the first half. They now have 15 for the game.
See, this is C.J. Fair's time now. He can work that mismatch all night.
On the drive, too strong. And the loose ball ends up covered by Lonnie Jackson.
But you see how he's fading away on that little shot there? He's got a 6-inch height advantage. Either come to a jump stop or explode through that little guard. I don't think C.J. Fair's doing a good job of taking advantage of that mismatch by playing a little bit more powerfully with the smaller guard.
Rayhan on the drive, skips one to Jackson, 7 to shoot. Anderson bullets one to the corner. Heckman knocks down another triple. 9 threes in the second half and overtime combined for Boston College. Foul called. It will go against BC, it will go against Heckman, and it will be an automatic 2.
We've talked about all night that if you can catch the basketball in around that free throw line area, look at the rim, it draws the defenders in, and you can kick to the corners. Boston College in the second half and so far early here in this overtime have been executing it perfectly.
For Rakeem Christmas. Benajay comes on. The Pearl has seen more than one dramatic finish in this building and has authored a few dramatic finishes in this building. What are we in store for over the last 2:41 of overtime? Pressure by Syracuse, and Benajay almost got the steal.
I think that's a great move by Coach Boeheim, trying to speed this game up a little bit to see if a fatigued team, he can force them into some turnovers.
Jackson throws one to Rayhan at midcourt. Off to Hanlon with a ball fake, slapped away. Good hands by ENNIS.
Tell you what, I love the attack. If you can get through the first wave of the zone, you should be in attack mode, and I love who had the basketball in his hands. Olivier Hanlon has been creating a lot of offense for his team off the bounce.
And again, Boston College content to take as much time off the clock as they can. See if they can shorten the game. Tapped in the backcourt. Fair runs it down. Blocked by Heckman. Ahead of the field. Shooting at three. Off the mark is Hanlon. And it's snatched away from Anderson by Jeremy Grant. ENNIS races the other way. Lays it in. Tied for the fifth time with 2 minutes to go in overtime.
Beautiful rebound and outlet by the Cuse.
Rayhan with 8 to shoot. Needs to get moving. It's a screen. Rayhan at the free throw line. No good.
Bob, that has to be Hanlon. 21 needs to have the basketball in his hands every time down the floor.
Fair. Just a little too strong. Offensive rebound for Christmas. ENNIS thought about a three. Settles for two. Comes up short. Gets his own miss. And a reach-in foul, I think, was called. That'll put ENNIS at the line to shoot two.
You know, I love the decision, though. Syracuse is trying to take advantage of the mismatch they have with C.J. Fair. I thought Tyler ENNIS should have taken that shot, because when you get an offensive rebound and you kick it out, that's one of the best times to take that three-point shot, because it's straight in your hands. Hands were ready. I thought he should have taken that three.
That foul was called on Anderson. At least that's the word we got, and that is his fourth. ENNIS can't hit the free throw. He's a 75% free throw shooter. This is his first trip to the line. 1 of 2. Undefeated Syracuse has the lead back. Coming up on a minute to go in overtime.
Ryan Anderson, number 12 in white. Ball screen with 21 in white has been effective in the second half.
Anderson on Christmas, lost his footing. It's out of bounds off Fair.
Look, he falls on the floor, tries to get a timeout and try to kick it out to his teammate. But that's that fatigue legs that we were talking about. It was the right play, turned around and faced him, gave him an up fake, but didn't have the legs to explode to the rim.
Trevor Cooney comes back in. Cooney averages close to 14 points per game. He only has 2 field goals tonight. He has not been nearly the factor offensively that he has been in many of Syracuse's wins this season.
Well, kudos to Boston College. They've not been leaving him. They've been shadowing him in the entire game.
10 to shoot. Nice. Backdoor cut. And the reverse by Heckman. It's a 1-point BC lead.
How about going up on the right side of the basket, shielding it with the basket with the right hand and a little scoop on the weak side. Beautiful.
Jim Boeheim will spend his overtime timeout.
When you catch the rock inside and you're in the corners, you can't just stand. That's a beautiful read underneath by Patrick Heckman. All eyes on the basketball, lost sight of him underneath, and a good find underneath by Ryan Anderson.
BC has the lead by 1, 38 seconds to go. Quickly, though, back to Chris Cotter.
Bob, the #1 team trailing by 1 point. The #2 team up by 1 point thanks to Michael Frazier the second here, Coach.
Yeah, that's deep. And winning games like this, somebody's got to step up. Frazier just did.
So a 1-point Gator lead right now. About 40 seconds left in that one. We're going to keep you up to date on this and all the other games all night long. Exciting night. No, we have it, but we do, Bob.
And Chris, that's amazing. Both #1 and #2 in 1-point games with almost the exact amount of time on the clock in both games, as we have just under 40 seconds to go in overtime between BC and Syracuse. Bob Wischusen, LaFonso Ellis. Let's take a look at some key plays. First of all, down the stretch in regulation. Grant at one end and Olivier Hanlon with the blow-by at the other.
Yeah, Jeremy Grant so quick with the basketball to get to the rim. And we've said that the basketball needed to be in the hands of number 21, and White draws so much attention, can stroke the three ball, can get in transition. But this is where Tyler Ennis excels when he's in transition, so smooth to the basket. But the half-court execution of Boston College has been terrific all night long.
Well, now there's about an 8-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. BC is the team that still has a timeout. Again, neither team with a foul to give. The possession arrow still belongs to Syracuse. They've got the ball, but you'd have to think there's a very good chance, LaFonso, that Boston College is going to end up with the ball in their hands with at least a chance before overtime is over.
Without a doubt, but one of the keys to this game and part of our focus was, can Boston College keep Syracuse off the board? They're certainly going to take a shot. Now you have to find Christmas, you have to find Fair, and you have to find Grant to make sure that you secure the basketball should they miss. But if I'm Syracuse, the basketball is in the hands of number 11, the freshman Ennis, and C.J. Fair. If Ennis doesn't have a good look, they have to find them to take advantage of that mismatch, because the beauty of it is you want to make sure that you get a good look at the basket. C.J. Fair with the 6-inch height advantage over little Joe Rahan as a guard should be able to get a clean look at any spot on the floor.
Well, what does that say about Tyler Ennis as well as a freshman? You've been saying that throughout the entirety of the second half and overtime. The ball has to be in the hands of number 11. And in situations like this, with an undefeated season on the line, as a freshman who never seems to get sped up, plays with such maturity.
Unflappable, Bob. Unflappable. Reads, but plays with his eyes up, can see open players. Oh.
He throws it away. Boston College claiming they didn't touch the ball.
Boston
Steve
College's
Donahue
ball.
can't believe it as well. But the officials, at least initially, saying that Boston College grazed that pass from Tyler Ennis before it went out of bounds. They awarded it to Syracuse, and now they'll go to the monitor.
Partner, I think that's Boston College basketball. What happened on that play is they were setting Syracuse a cross screen to bring C.J. Fair to the basketball to take advantage of it, of the mismatch down low. And unless Lonnie Jackson maybe got a finger on the basketball, which I can't quite see it, that should be Boston College basketball.
Well, two of our looks didn't really give a definitive view as to whether or not Lonnie Jackson touched the ball. That look seemed to have some space in between Lonnie Jackson's fingertips and the ball. Hard to tell. It's really close.
It is. But what Tyler Ennis was doing was, at times, instead of throwing it to a player, you throw it to an area, and he was expecting C.J. Fair to be to that area, but he's held up on the other side. Nice job by Boston College preventing a straight run to the low post.
Another look, and as best we can, blowing up the shot to see if there's a little bit of space between the fingertips of Lonnie Jackson and the basketball. And believe it or not, Ed Corbett, one of the officials, has come over to our scorers table to ask whether or not he can see a replay at our table on a high definition monitor. Because you can see us on the shot now. The monitor at the scorer's table on the opposite side of the floor is not in high definition. So that's how close this call is as to whether or not the ball is touching the fingertips of Lonnie Jackson, which was originally the call on the floor as the ball sails out of bounds. And Ed Corbett wants to see a high definition look. And now they're going to go back over to the other side. And as best they can, take a look at the monitor, a different monitor at the scorer's table.
I tell you, one of the things that you can generally look at is see, did the rotation of the basketball slow down, speed up, did the trajectory change? And it's really tough to see.
All right, now, I'll put you on the spot. You were a part of the referee's review there for a moment. I'm not sure if you let Ed Corbett know what you think.
Right.
But looking at it as we blow it up, would you say that that's a call that can be reversed?
Yeah, I don't think there's enough evidence to reverse it, and I'm not so sure that Lonnie Jackson touched the basketball either. Because you can see him actually going up, and at the last second, his hand turns. Really difficult to call.
Now, Carl Hess is on his way back over to our table. The officials can't get the look that they want from the monitors at the scorer's table. They're trying to get the look that they want from the monitors we have at our broadcast table. And as best we can, from our TV truck, trying to blow up the look to give them something they can see. And Alfonso Ellis might jump in and be a part of the officials' review.
Yeah, they're blowing it up right now.
Boston College ball.
Oh, no, they're saying it's Syracuse ball. They felt he touched it.
They're going to stick with the original call made on the floor, and that was that Lonnie Jackson barely got a fingertip on the ball, and that it still stays with Syracuse with 32 seconds to go.
And they have to have enough evidence to overturn it, and I guess they didn't feel they had it there.
So Syracuse still has it. Still about an 8-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. C.J. Fair quickly to work. Tough shot. Won't go. The loose ball out of bounds. And this time it's off the Cuse. 26 seconds to go. Shot clock turned off. Boston College has a timeout, and they've got the lead.
Bob, I thought that shot was taken way too early. There were 23 seconds on the shot clock. I think he can pull that basketball out front and get C.J. Fair a much better look by posting him up, bringing him on that little cross screen, or doing that little elbow screen that they do to get him open. Wow.
A foul called on Benajay before BC can inbound the ball. That'll be free throws at the other end for Boston College. At some point in that sequence, there's a very good chance that Syracuse would foul because Boston College getting the ball in with the lead.
Sure.
Do you think that Jim Boeheim wanted that foul in the backcourt without giving his team a chance to put some pressure on BC and maybe get a steal?
Yeah, I don't think he wanted that one. And the reason is they were able to force in the first half a lot of turnovers. And you want to give your speed, quickness, and athleticism that Syracuse possesses an opportunity to try to make a play defensively. And so I don't think that's what he drew up.
Well, even if it was not the play that Jim Boeheim wanted made, they fouled the right guy. Lonnie Jackson only at 56%, but he makes the first.
I'll tell you what, his percentage from the free throw line doesn't show what's in his heart because he's the guy that actually brings the little edge and toughness to this team. We know about his three-point shooting ability, but he thrives in these moments.
Jackson knocks them both down, and it's a three-point game. Shot clock turned off. Syracuse doesn't have to shoot a three. Ennis backs it out. 20 seconds to go. Ennis steps inside the three-point line, penetrates. Can't lay it home. The tip follow goes by Christmas. 13 seconds to go. BC gets it in. Syracuse has to foul, and they do. 11 seconds to go, and it'll be Lonnie Jackson again at the free throw line.
Well, I tell you, when you have the kind of athletes across the front line that you have with Syracuse, even if you miss a basket, you know you have a second opportunity because Jeremy Grant, Christmas, C.J. Fair, so quick off the floor. You don't get a body on those guys that come up with second chance points.
Still a 1-and-1. He's got the front end. Lonnie Jackson, a 56% free throw shooter, has made 3 in a row here in overtime. Make it 4 in a row. Now Syracuse has to have a 3. 11 seconds to go. They're out of timeouts. ENNIS off to Cooney. Cooney for the tie. Short. ENNIS has it. 3 seconds to go. Boston College with Ryan Anderson throwing it to the heavens. Has all of their prayers answered at the Carrier Dome. And Syracuse is undefeated no more.
Wow, what a game. But you're talking about a team in the second half in the overtime who executed their game plan beautifully, didn't allow an inordinate amount of offensive rebounds. They didn't turn the basketball over, and you talk about knocking down some threes. They needed to make 10 three-point shots or more to win this basketball game. Great win by Boston College.
The upset of the season in college basketball. You've seen it tonight here at the Carrier Dome, as Jim Boeheim's team is now 25-1 as they lose to Boston College, the first BC win over a #1 ranked team since they beat Carolina back in 2009. Olivier Hanlon with a 20-point night, and Syracuse didn't have the answers down the stretch or in overtime. As we take another look, Trevor Cooney is their three-point specialist. He got a look, but it wasn't a good one. ENNIS came up with the loose ball underneath, but dribbled into traffic, and Ryan Anderson simply threw it up to kill the rest of the clock. And BC with a chance to celebrate. Boston College is now 3-10 in the ACC. 2 wins over Virginia Tech and a win at Syracuse. And LaFonza was with the winning coach.
Coach Donahue, you were up 8 in Chestnut Hill and surrendered that lead. Did you learn anything from that game that helped you all tonight?
Actually, LaFonza, we've been up 8 a lot of games this year down the stretch, and it's been an emotional week for us at BC. It's been an emotional season, but we lost one of our colleagues in Dick Kelly, and just the emotion of this game, I'm speechless. I'm so happy for our guys and all the adversity we faced this year, and obviously a huge win for our program.
Coach, your team is typically a low turnover team, but you had quite a few of them in the first half. How were you able to overcome that deficit in the second half?
You know, I think we stopped worrying about how we're going to win. We're pretty. We don't turn the ball over. And I just said at halftime, let's just win ugly. Let's do whatever it takes, because that's the way to beat a team like Syracuse. That's what you have to do.
How important is Hanlon's aggressiveness on the floor for you offensively?
Well, it's important to us every game, but I thought today he had the will to win. He's persevered, almost like I'm not going to let this group lose.
What does a win mean? What does a win like this mean to your program?
You know what? We're trying to build a program here, and recruiting's huge. And kids look at this as a chance to say, you know what? I can go there. We can compete with the best teams in the country like Syracuse. Hopefully, it helps you grow it.
Congratulations, Coach. Back to you.
What a win for Boston College. You can see the DK button as well on the lapel of Steve Donahue. That for Dick Kelly, who is smiling down on the Eagles tonight from up above. He lost a battle with ALS, the longtime SID for Boston College. Lou Gehrig's disease claimed his life. A sad week for BC and their sports community, but what happiness tonight. We go back to the studio now and Chris Cotter.